Hey everyone, it's Sleepy Reader. I am back in the backyard, scooched up in the shady part. It's really hot today. I don't know if I'll be interrupted by my neighbors again, but I had a good time doing haul videos out back here yesterday, so I thought I'd do a few more while I was back here. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I could almost do a video every day by cutting two a day when I have the time. Actually, 2 videos ago, I made a bit of a fool of myself talking about these EC reprint volumes of mine, which I like quite a bit. But I stupidly thought they were both weird science, when quite obviously one is weird science, one is weird fantasy. And I was corrected on that. Thank you for pointing that out, actually, because I have now been able to order 2 more volumes of Weird Science from in-stock trades. I guess the rest are out of print, and I thought these things would be available digitally from Dark Horse, but they're not. And there's a whole kind of weird publishing history where some volumes of this series are published by Dark Horse, some are published by Gladstone, and some are published by another Russ Cochran publishing venture. So I guess a lot of them are probably out of print. I'm hoping maybe Dark Horse can bring them all back into print, because I like getting them in color and in this large size and on the nice paper, so everything is really clear and readable for my old eyes. The other stupid mistake I made is I misattributed the story, whose title I couldn't remember, The Master Race, to Jack Kamen, when it's Bernie Krigstein who did The Master Race. It's not in either of these comics, I believe, but one of the most famous short comics around. And apparently Kayfabe has just recently made a video focusing on just that story, and I'm eager to go watch it. I'll probably put a link to it below for those of you who might be too. Yeah, I'll put a link to the video where I made an ass of myself, in case you missed that and want to see what other comics I hauled at that point. But I'm eager to get more of these, and I guess I'll have to look at the aftermarket, so to speak, for those that are out of print and see if I can get a hold of more. While I'm talking hardbacks, some other ones that I got which were out of print, but I found them fairly affordably on the Amazon Marketplace, were Magnus Robot Fighter Volume 2. For those who don't know, this was it Gold Key? Either Gold Key or Western, probably Gold Key. And we can't see them. It had these nice painted covers. And so it was kind of this under-the-radar series at the time. And eventually a lot of it was just reprinted in later issues of Magnus Robot Fighter. But after finding an issue in the cheap bins, I felt very eager to get myself some high-quality hardback versions and have it all. So I guess I'll still have to hunt for Volume 1, and maybe I found copies, but they were too expensive for me. I have to say the reproduction of the line art isn't as fine as I'd hoped for, although it still looks better than on the old newsprint. Maybe this is just as good as they can do, because I really love Russ Manning's line work, getting him confused with Russ Cochran, and there's another artist out there I confuse him with. But anyway, and he later went on to do Tarzan, and his Tarzan comics were so good they hired him to do the Tarzan newspaper strip. So I have to say the few Magnus Robot Fighter stories I've read from back then are a little on the dull side. Which, how do you make it dull when you've got robots to fight, and here are giant gorillas too, or just regular sized gorillas, and you live in this future city that covers the entirety of Earth, or maybe the entirety of our continent? Actually, the city's called North Am, I believe. Can I find a quick view of the city, I wonder? And then I love the painted covers, though I hated painted covers as a kid because I felt that was a super cheat. Let's see. So I got Volume 2, and I also got Volume 3. I don't know how many volumes there are total. Maybe there are 3, maybe there are more. This one has a foreword by Keith Geffen. There's a little bit of a view of Northam. It's a great way to enjoy that Silver Age view of the future. And yeah, I mean, and it's been brought back several times, both by Valiant back in the old days, and I think, was it Dynamite who brought it back recently? And I think the most recent version was a woman named Magnus, who's a therapist for robots. I haven't tried that one yet. I think it almost made it into the movies at one point. I remember going into a comic book shop and hearing that people were hunting up the Valiant issues because they heard that it had been optioned for the movies, but I guess nothing ever came of that. Anyway, I was really glad to get those. So as you just see more and more of me hoarding hardbacks and hoarding comics. In a previous one, I showed you some laser eraser and press button and thought I was missing an issue, but I was actually missing two that I had picked up. So I think before I showed you, was it issue 1 and issue 5? So I've also got 2 and 4. So I'm only missing one issue at this point, I think. Or I don't know how long the series went. Let's see. This issue here is already no longer drawn by the original artist. It's art by David Lloyd, though. That's interesting to me, anyway. What is going on? I can hardly see my camera image anymore. So yeah, this one is art by David Lloyd. Here they are advertising a comic called True Love. I don't remember any True Love comic from Eclipse, and here's number 4 with a painted cover and art by Mike Collins and Mark Farmer. So I don't know if these will be any good, but I just have an affection for the character and its wackiness. And then also out of the cheap bins, I found issue 1 and issue 6. I think issue 6 may be the final issue of The Legacy of Luther Strode. I think this might be the second volume of Luther Strode Adventures, or maybe even third. And the reason I picked it up was because of Tradd Moore, whose art I've come to love, especially in his work in the Silver Surfer Black, but also in the comic The New World. So this is earlier indie work he did, which I think was well thought of at the time, but I didn't hear enough to make me pick it up at the time. Or maybe because it was something I was too unfamiliar with. And the writer is Justin Jordan, who I think we see do a lot of other projects now, and this comic may have helped start his reputation. There's issue 6. So the main attraction is just this crazy style of Tradd Moore's, which has gotten even crazier since this point. But he's definitely not afraid to make bold graphic statements and veer far away from the pseudo-realism of many American comics. Another back issue, another issue of Mystery in Space. I'm slowly picking these up. This is number 113. I think this is one that was published maybe in the Golden Age, then stopped, and then started back up again in the Bronze Age, and only lasted a short while, I think. I may have my facts wrong. But that's my memory of it. Maybe it's some other science fiction magazine. This is a nice not Mike Cluter, Joe Kubert cover. And inside we've got Michael Golden art. Story by George Kasdan. That name is only partially familiar. So I did not know Michael Golden did work for DC at all. This looks very nice. I don't know if this is before or after he worked on the Micronauts. I'm assuming around the same time, actually. Then we've got another story by Len Wein and Joe Staton. And of course the Twinkies ad, which is the highlight of every comic from those days. So that was a one-pager. Then JMD Matthias and Jerry Grandinetti. I really like Jerry Grandinetti artwork. Was he the one who worked on Prez? Or am I remembering wrong? Anyway, you don't see his artwork too often. I don't hear much about him. I don't know much about him, whether he was an older or younger artist at this point in the 70s. 50 cents, we may be the late 70s. 1980. This is from 1980. So, and then a Joe Kubert story from the cover. So that's, like I was saying with the House of Mystery books, these kind of books are like Cracker Jacks, where you just never know what the prizes inside might be. And to me, all of these are prizes. Maybe not for the story, but at least for the art. This one has the look of a reprint. I'm not sure. I don't see any credits on it. Beasts of Burden. It could, I don't know. It almost looks like it could be Gil Kane work from the earlier era, but I don't see any credits on it. I don't think it's Gil Kane, no. Oh wait, here are the credits. Trevor Von Eden. Oh, that's kind of a surprise. Gasper Saldino, letterer. So, fun stuff. I think I'll dig in and read this later today. And then we got some Marvel New Universe comics from the 50-cent bin, or even cheaper, Justice. And I did not know that the Marvel Universe lasted long enough for one of its titles to go up to issue 31. And these are very nice covers by Lee Weeks. And I think some of the interior art is Lee Weeks. Early Lee Weeks, of course. Yep, this one is Lee Weeks. I thought that all of the New Universe books only lasted about a year and a half, but I guess I'm wrong. But I think, as I was starting to say, this Lee Weeks cover looks kind of Joe Kubertish. Did Lee Weeks study under Joe Kubert, I wonder? More Lee Weeks here. The writer's Peter David, so that is also promising. Psy-Force, I Find You Guilty. So I don't know much about Justice. It wasn't one of the New Universe comics I read much of, or can remember reading anyway. Another very nice Lee Weeks, Joe Kubertish cover. Interior art is still Lee Weeks. On the insides, he doesn't look as Joe Kubertish to me, which is interesting. He's not the Lee Weeks that we know now. And then even deeper to the bottom of the barrel, I think, of the bargain basement. Man, I can't see my screen. 13 minutes. I found some more Justice Machine. So this is they were rebooted by something called Innovation, premiering the all-new Justice Machine regular series. And it has a wraparound cover, so that's nice. By Mark Ellis, Daryl Banks, Mike Gustovich, and Valerie Gustovich. And Mike Gustovich, I believe, is the creator of this, but was rarely the writer on it. And then some older Justice Machine comics from when they were at Comico, which may be why we don't ever see a reprint of this, because I know a lot of comics at Comico got lost in some kind of legal wrangle that Comico got itself into. So let's see. I like these wraparound covers. I know that I have not read many of the Justice Machines that I have collected so far. They appeal to my childlike fanish self that wanted to, redo my own version of superheroes. And it felt like this was a fellow comics fan just doing his own superhero universe. Who was the... Oh, there's a nice splash page. was the credits? Where are the credits? There's a long piece by Doug Murray there, whose name is vaguely familiar. Here we go. Writer Doug Murray, penciler Rick Levins, inker creator Mike Gustovich. Kind of like when you're the creator and you're just the inker, that's kind of like one of those groups where the bass player is the actual leader of the band and wrote all the songs or something. I don't know. I think of inkers as being like bass players. So anyway, silly stuff, no doubt. So that's number 17. Here's number 21. Again, winning me over with the wraparound cover. The Earth Jorwell War, Part 3 of 7. One of the wacky things about this is the other universe they come from, the sort of dystopia, is called Jorwell, named after George Orwell. Which seems like something you would not do if you created this as a grown-up, rather than it's kind of the thing you created as a kid or a teenager, maybe. I could be wrong, though. This one is written by Doug Murray, Mike Gustovich is penciler creator, and Del Barris is the inker. So Gustovich took on different roles on his own creation at different times. Yeah, I like his pencils better than the other penciler. Who owns this? Who's the copyright by? Copyright Mike Gustovich. So, in theory, if Mike Gustovich or his heirs are still around, they could put out a hardback or a trade paperback of these. I think that would be fun. But maybe no one else would. Oh, it looks like at the time Kamiko was publishing Johnny Quest. What else was Kamiko up to? We got a backup story called Master of the Moon. Still Mike Gustovich, penciler creator. Troll Lords? That sounds familiar, or is that just because that's what people on the internet now are? Jezebel Jade, The Woman Your Mother Warned You About, a 3-issue miniseries coming to your hometown, brought to you by writer William Messenger Loebs and illustrator Andy Kubert. Kind of a cool cover. Looks like he might have been able to use Photoshop back then, or some other technique. The heat is on as the Earth Jorwell War Part 4 of 7 continues in number 22. The big event. But that was number 21, and the next issue I have is number 27, where the Justice Machine welcomes its newest member, Miss Liberty. Was she a Golden Age character? I feel like she was. Maybe in a different costume. Or maybe just a slightly similar name. Back issue has JM visits a circus as Justice takes a holiday. And then some more serious comics I might have paid a little more money for. Here is The Incredible Hulk number 123, The Monster and the Murder Module. The leader is, along with MODOK, is one of my favorite Hulk villains. I know MODOK's been villains for other people, but I first read him as a Hulk villain. And this looks like it has what I consider sort of prime Herb Trimpe artwork. You know what? Jared Osborne has won, because I think it was him for quite a while scolded me for calling him Herb Trimpe. Or maybe it was Jared and other people. And now I finally have Herb Trimpe in my brain. Soon I'll be told, oh no, that was wrong. I knew Herb Trimpe, and that's what he preferred to be Trimpe. But yeah, I really like the art in this, and this comic seems, for me, in pretty good shape. I don't know if that, I guess that's, I presume it's a Trimpe cover, although it looks less like a Trimpe cover and more like a, oh, there's a Trimpe signature there. So it is a Trimpe. I shouldn't say it looks like a Mary Severin cover, although who knows, she might have been the one who originally designed the cover, because I know she designed a lot. I'd love it if there was a book of all of Marie Severin's cover sketches. That would be awesome. And then I've got, I whenever I can get them affordably, I pick up the Defenders that I don't already have. That's a run I'm slowly working on. I don't know if I need the run all the way to the end. I definitely want it all the way through the Steve Gerber era. And And there's the David Anthony Kraft era. I don't know if I need that. I think this will be Steve Gerber. This is one where I was fooled by it being in the bag and board, and it's actually kind of curved. I guess I could try to flatten it out, but I felt a little disappointed when I picked that up. Yeah, this is Steve Gerber with Sal Buscema and Jim Mooney, so that's going to be cool stuff. To me, Sal Buscema is the Defenders artist. I don't know if he had the longest run on the Defenders, but to me, he is the Defenders artist. Here's number 34 with a really nice Rich Buckler cover, although I would have liked Sal Buscema better. But I like Rich Buckler covers. This one is in perfectly fine shape. I think we're all bozos in this book is the title. It has to be a Steve Gerber story, and it is. More Sal Buscema, more inks by Jim Mooney, so that's going to be very solid. I also always got a kick out of the visual look of Nebulon. I don't know if Nebulon originally started in Defenders. That's where I know him from. This is probably his second or third or fourth appearance in Defenders. But has he appeared in the Marvel movies? Probably not. There should be a Marvel movies Defenders movie. That should be what's coming up next. We got Valkyrie, and we don't have Silver Surfer, but we got Valkyrie and Hulk and Doctor Strange already all established. And of course, the Defenders often incorporated a bunch of different people. Hawkeye was in the Defenders for a while. So those were quite pleasing to me. So I will be back soon, probably with more haul videos and maybe a comics thoughts video coming up soon. Or at this point, as I'm getting kind of ahead of myself, recording more videos than normal, who knows what the order of it'll be. Maybe I'll do a comics thought video later today that will come out before this video. I don't know. I have no idea. Thank you for watching, and I hope I do better next time. One weird fantasy and one weird science. I've now had that pointed out to me. I don't. Hi, Mimi. How are you doing?
Good.
What are you up to?
Oh, just getting this poor innocent little planty that fell over
Oh my.
a new pot and some soil.
Cool. Hey everyone, it's Sleepy Reader. I am back in the backyard.